One game in the books, the other just getting going. Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcast Network. I'm Milton Posner. The first game wasn't particularly close. It was a 5-inning, or rather a 4.5-inning mercy rule from the Beacons over the Southern Maine Huskies. But a first pitch, or a first batter walk, gets this one going. It was 10-2 in the first game, and now Bree Melchionda taking the pitching circle for the Beacons in Game 2 and issuing a leadoff walk to Lauren Miller. Up next is Hannah Shields. Correction, Madison Day. My apologies. Ground ball topped off to third. Throw arrives at second in time. So after a ground out to second from Miller to lead off and a walk to Hannah Shields, it's going to be a fielder's choice to second. So Day reaches. Batter now is Rona Scott, excuse me. By pretty much any measure you want to use, the most dominant hitter on this Southern Maine squad through the first couple of games, or first handful of games rather, but 0 of 2 in the opener. The order will go like this for the Huskies. Right fielder Lauren Miller to lead off, Hannah Shields in center going second, Madison Day, who's standing at first base right now with 2 out in the 3 spot, Rona Scott, the designated player, coming up now. Lauren Merrill, who started in left in the last game, will take the pitcher's spot for this one as Scott takes a walk, and there are 2 on with 2 out. She'll be followed by Dory Coulis at first, Kendall Migliorini at third, McKenna Mulcahy taking over for Lauren Merrill in left. The number 8 hitter, and finally Megan Dufresne, the second baseman, batting ninth. Defensively for the Beacons, it looks like this. Same outfield, same infield. Richland, Sandin, English in left, right, and left, center, and right. Bethia, Minor, Tilbury, Toomey around the diamond from third to first. Toomey the flex in this game. Tam Landry taking Caitlin Sawyer's spot behind the plate. Sawyer's going to be the designated player batting ninth for the Beacons. But Landry will handle Bree Melchionda. 1-1. Comes that blazing fastball over the heart of the plate for strike 2. If you missed the first game, you missed a lot in the first and third innings, particularly for these Beacons. 6 runs in the first, 4 runs in the fourth. That one's poked to the left side, but foul. They chased Lexus McIntosh in the first. McIntosh had ceded just 2 earned runs in 28 innings up until that point. Went to battle against Belle Snyder, who held them for a brief moment, but ultimately succumbed. That one's rolled over to first. Easy pickings for Jordan Toomey, and the 2 walks will not come back to hurt Melchionda. To the bottom of the first we go, scoreless from the Harbor.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
Beacons to bat in the bottom of the first inning. It's the same lineup they used with a couple of exceptions toward the bottom. Sophie Richland, Haley Tilbury, Sydney Sandin, and Bree Melchionda, the 1 through 4 spots, followed by Lauren Miner, Amari English, and Lauren Bethia. Tam Landry slotting in for the 8th spot, previously occupied by Toomey, who's going to be the flex in this one and likely will not hit. And then Caitlin Sawyer still in the 9th spot, but the designated player this time instead of the catcher. They'll be squaring off against the starting pitcher, Lauren Merrill, who started in left, had an error and a sparkling defensive play in very short succession out there. But will take the bump now for the 10th time, 9th as a starting pitcher. 43 innings under her belt. That's good for 8th in the LEC. Tops on this Huskies team. As taking ball 1 is Richland at the plate. Merrill's got a 2.12 earned run average. It's good for 6th in the conference among qualifying pitchers, as Richland swings through that one 1-1. Hitters have mustered just a 240 average against her, 7th in the conference. She has not allowed a home run in 43 innings, mind you, and 33 strikeouts against just 14 walks. So the second best pitcher on this team through the first 16 games, the second best hitter by at least one measure as well. Dealing to the leadoff hitter, Sophie Richland now with the infield pinched way up. You can see where they're playing as there's a comebacker to the pitching plate, and she's ruled out. Ooh. The Beacons dugout, the first base coach not happy about that, and quite frankly, they're absolutely right. It's got to give it to you unvarnished. You can rewind that on your live stream and check the umpire, check my thought on it if you want, but it looked as though Richland had that throw beat. Strike 1 to Tilbury. It was a quick hesitation with Richland moving down the line from the pitcher, Lauren Merrill, and that was all it took to make the play close. Remember, Richland has that running start when she swings. Makes her very difficult to throw out if you're anything but perfect in the infield. Tilbury at the dish now. But a strong season on the whole. Another comebacker, this one fielded cleanly, and a much smoother play to retire her. 2 gone in the frame, and Sydney Sand into the dish. He's had a terrific season, had 2 base hits, a run scored, a run driven in the opener, and generally fought and made the Husky pitchers' lives difficult as she takes strike 1. A lot of foul balls. She has not been inclined to go down swinging, looking, or any other way this season. Been reaching more than half the time, but coaxing 2 swinging strikes out of her is not easy. Nevertheless, that's exactly what Lauren Merrill has done. A consistent bat, somebody who started from the mound all of last year, was all-conference second team. Slow one off the plate, and the count evens up at 2-2. Somebody who's pitched in big games and who mustered in 125 innings last season, mind you, a 2.30 earned run average. around where she is this season as Sandin forks that one off to the dugout. Her earned run average has consistently been between 2.1 and 2.3 all 3 years she has pitched in the D3 rank. Comes home again and strikes out Sandin. For the first time in 7 games, and for only the 4th time all season, Sandin goes down, and that will end the inning. Scoreless after 1 from the Harbor.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Dory Coulis, Kendall Migliorini, McKenna Mulcahy, the first, third, and left fielders to get things going in the top of the second against Bree Melchionda, who fires strike 1 over. For Melchionda, it's really about that fastball. It's not to say that's all she's going to throw at you, but it's the fastball that gives the life to everything else. Makes the off-speed threatening. Coming into this game, she's had 11 pitching appearances on the season, including today, 8 starts. And in 62 innings pitched, has an ERA of 1.60. Hacked off at the plate in the count 0-2. 83 strikeouts so far this season. To go with just 26, now make it 28 walks. That one's lined into right field, a base hit. English thought about a throw, but wasn't going to be a play. And Melchionda second in the Little East in strikeouts. Hasn't given up too many hits either. The walks, hits per innings pitched resting just a shade above 1. Dory Coulis unperturbed. Gets a base knock. Now it's Kendall Migliorini looking to keep things moving and taking strike 1 at the thighs. The Beacons now 15-4, 2-1 in conference after the win in the front end of the doubleheader against these Huskies. One hopper to short, to second for 1, on to first, safe. So the Beacons nearly turn 2, but will settle for the out at second. Migliorini reaches, and with 1 out, McKenna Mulcahy will get her first plate appearance of the game. Staring down Melchionda. Mulcahy's now 3 of 16 with a triple and 7 strikeouts. Lays down the bunt, but the play rightfully called dead as it hit the bat as she dropped it. And so strike 1 to the junior utility player. For Melchionda, her head coach Natalia Dragna says it's her competitive ability that'll keep her atop the LEC. The fast pitcher, but a commanding one as well. And brings the offensive ability to match, so you can have her hit for herself as she's doing. It allows you to put in a designated player elsewhere, take one of your other weaker hitters out of the lineup. You don't have to use the flex spot on a weak hitting pitcher, as the Beacons usually do with Emily Doble. That one's low and away for a ball. Melchionda slaps the glove, retakes the plate, fires home. That one's flied foul off the facade of the building over down there, down the third base line. 1-2. And Mulcahy's making her work. Still just the one hit in the game for either team. There's that single you saw a minute ago from Koulis before she was forced out at second. That one just a smidge high in the count, 2-2. Kendall Migliorini standing at first after the fielder's choice with one out. Melchionda comes set, comes home. That furious step and just misses the black. 3-2. Critical pitch here. The Beacons pounced on the Huskies in the first inning of the first game. Fouled away at the plate. Huskies trying to return the favor here in the second and get themselves off on the front foot. They only put up 2 runs in the last game. Most of their games they've put up 3 or fewer. But they have had in their last half dozen games some life in the offense. But their head coach Sarah Jamo says it's mostly been moments. But that walk will certainly help. Mulcahy takes her base. The third walk issued in the early going by Melchionda. 1 out now, 2 runners on. And Megan Dufresne bringing up the rear. Hitting just 208 on the season with 1 extra base hit and 1 walk. 7 strikeouts. And for Southern Maine, last year was something of a rebuilding year. They were coming off that record 2021 year where they got 5 seniors returning from the COVID year. It was an extra experienced team. As Melchionda pulls the string for strike 2. That year where they went 31-6-1, only had 1 conference loss, and got an at-large bid after Eastern Connecticut State beat them in the tournament. As Toomey with a diving catch, looking for clarification from the umpires. As is Natalia Dragna. Looked as though she tried to make the catch and then tag first base for the double play. And that's exactly what she gets. An umpire's conference confirms it, a big double play for Jordan Toomey. And it gets the Beacons out of a tight spot. To the bottom of the second we go, still scoreless.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue. Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do.
A diving double play for Jordan Toomey. Terrific defense at first base to end the top of the second inning. And now the Beacons, who went down 1-2-3 in the first, are going to look to make some noise. It's the pitcher, Brie Melchionda, the third baseman, Lauren Miner, and the right fielder, Amari English, against Lauren Merrill. Off-speed pitch fades away for a ball. 1-1 pitch to Melchionda. In there with that level stance. Skipped in from Merrill. Off the chest protector of the catcher, Jordan Cummings. Cummings starting in the flex. So she's likely not going to bat all game. But the defense for the Huskies will break down like this. McKenna Mulcahy in left, Hannah Shields, Lauren Miller with their usual positions in center and right respectively. As that one caroms off the first baseman, Koulis, Melchionda is going to reach. As a hot shot will likely go as an infield single. And indeed it will. So the first base hit for the Beacons in the second of the doubleheader. The rest of that defense will look like this. Koulis at first, Megan Dufresne at second, Madison Day at short, Kendall Migliorini at third, with Jordan Cummings catching Lauren Merrill. Off-speed pitch slides low, and the count 1-0. The batter now is Lauren Miner. Had a couple of errors in the previous game, but wielded the bat well. It's 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. 1-1 the count now. Merrill comes home, tipped into the glove, and the count 1-2. Merrill's going to need a strong performance to give her team any shot. Melchionda is one of the better pitchers in the CAA, as is Merrill. It's hard to imagine the Huskies tagging Melchionda, although stranger things have happened. But it's hard to imagine them tagging her for the kind of run support they would need if the Beacons hit like they did in the last game. Keeping it close, keeping it a pitcher's duel seems to be their likeliest shot at a win here. Swing and a miss, and down goes Miner on the strikeout. Beacons finished 6th in the preseason poll. They've got more wins now than any team save for UMass Dartmouth in the LEC. The difference, though, is you never quite know what the strength of schedule is for each of these teams. It does vary wildly for the Little East teams that play in Florida and South Carolina. And a fielder's choice at second as English will reach. So 6-3 on the fielder's choice. So tough to turn two against really anybody, but the Beacons have some pretty solid speed. Their stolen base tallies will indicate. Didn't have a chance to steal too many in the first game of this doubleheader because by and large it was station to station running. They didn't have a runner on first long enough to steal second. The hitters by and large kept them moving. It's Lauren Bethia now with Amari English on first and 2 outs in the inning, and quickly behind 0-2. Merrill looking to get around the leadoff infield single. Comes home, bounces that one in. A nice stop from Cummings behind the plate. Merrill pitching without a mask. Out there, 40 feet from the plate. I mention it because you can see the focused expression on her face. She coaxes a foul ball dribbler up the line. One and two. Reaches out and pokes that one. She got beat by it and she knew it, but just does stay alive. So Bethia looking to move English along and now takes ball too low. Overwhelming majority of Merrill's pitches have been strikes. About 2/3 of them. Melchionda's number's a little behind that, but in the same area. Fouled off again by Bethia, who's really making Merrill work. Pitch after pitch after pitch. Still 1 and 2. So Lauren Bethia hitting .314 on the campaign. Chases that one in the dirt, but just gets a piece of it. And she is really refusing to go quietly. She'll stay in a 1-2 hole if she can't lay off the chase pitch. But as long as she's getting the bat to the ball, it's hard to argue with the results. Yet another 1-2 pitch. And another foul ball. So the at-bat drags on into the horizon. Merrill, who has fanned 2 beacons already, Sandin and Minor, Sandin being almost impossible to strike out so far this season, has been unable to put away Lauren Bethia. And another foul ball. It's at least 5 of them from Lauren Bethia. And making the pitcher work. It bears mentioning at this point, we saw 3 Husky pitchers in the first game. Lexus McIntosh got knocked out quickly. They only had to go 5 innings or 4 innings anyway. And finally, Bethia goes down swinging. So a valiant effort with a 3rd strikeout, hard fought and hard earned for the pitcher Merrill. To the 3rd inning we go, still no score.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because
cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
A 9-pitch at-bat for Lauren Bethia. and she only saw one ball. She slapped 5 foul balls off before being set down swinging. Melchionda, who's the second leading strikeout artist in the Little East Conference this season, has yet to fan one, and she's seen multiple base runners in every inning. Or the first 2 innings, I should say. It's only been 2 innings. Appreciate you joining us. If you missed the first part of the doubleheader, the Beacons jumped out over elite freshman starter Lexus McIntosh to the tune of 6 runs in the first, and they posted 4 in the third against a different pitcher, Belle Snyder. And a 10-2 win, the fruits of those labors. Well, now Melchion is going to have to tangle with the top of the lineup again. Lauren Miller, Hannah Shields, Madison Day. And a slap hit up along the third base line dribbles foul. For Miller, it's been a 200 season so far. Just 1 walk and no extra base hits. But batting in the leadoff spot for this one. Melchionda comes home. That one sails high. Side effect of that crouch down and slap swing, and we've seen it from Sophie Richland in the Beacons leadoff spot as well, is it effectively shrinks your strike zone. Exactly how charitable any given umpire wants to be about that remains to be seen. Drags the bat through the zone and just gets a piece of it to stay alive. The advantage of that hitting style, you get the flexibility to hold the bat if you get fooled by the off speed and maybe keep yourself alive. The downside is you're not getting much power. Melchionda comes home off the plate 3-2. And after throwing 35 pitches through the first 2 innings, he's going to have to throw some more here. 3-2. Slap hit. Looked like it went off of her foot. But they're going to say no, and she reaches base safely. Looked like it took a weird hop out of the dirt. It may have just hit the spot where she had been digging in, rather than her foot. But an infield single for Lauren Miller. And a bunt laid down by Shields in the spot behind her. Flip to first and a sacrifice. The throw back to second. And backed up nicely by the shortstop Minor. So an infield single, followed by a sacrifice bunt. And Madison Day, who led off in the previous game but was the only Husky to notch any hits, had 2 of them, and the only 2, is now moved to the 3 spot. She's not going to supply you with all that much power. 3 doubles on the season, not bad, but certainly not what you normally look for out of a number 3 hitter. But installed there after proving she can hit Beacon pitching. And now taking ball 1. 1-2. Correction, 1-1. Melchionda winds, fires home. That one nibbles at the inside low corner. The count 1-2. Lauren Miller leading from second, pitches in the dirt, and the count draws even. So Melchionda's thrown 46 pitches, 28 of them, that would be good for 61%, have been strikes. She has at times struggled with the command this season. There's a fly ball punched into left field, ranging over to make the catch in foul territory is the left fielder Richland. And there are 2 outs in the frame. The batter now is Rona Scott. And she's the one they'd like to have up here in a spot like this. Tops on the team in batting average, slugging percentage, on base percentage. She has a couple of home runs, 11 runs batted in as well. Off speed, ball one, 1-0. Another ball, this one low and in, or low and away rather. Rona Scott standing in with a hitter's count and taking yet another ball. So a 3-0 count, but with a runner in scoring position, given her pedigree, they may give her the green light. Melchionda comes home, fastball and a missile at 1-2, but it's low. And the fourth walk of the game issued by Melchionda puts a second runner on the base paths. So Miller still at second after the single and being moved over on the sacrifice. Rona Scott takes first. And it'll be up to the pitcher, Lauren Merrill, to help her own cause. She's hitting .348 on the season, with just one extra base hit. But the discipline has been there for her. 6 walks against just 3 strikeouts. You're going to have a substitution on the base paths here. Scott, the designated player, can be subbed for without removing her from the game. It'll be Caden Gratello-Smith, the freshman infielder, called on to pinch run. And Southern Maine sensing an opportunity here against a difficult pitcher, and knowing what their lineup has and hasn't been. They got one of their better hitters up there, though. She chops it off the handle, giving chase by the Beacons dugout is the catcher, Landry, and it's out of play. 0-1. That low stance from Merrill. Coax the power out of it. That one's popped up, though, weakly on the infield, and Bethia makes the catch. So once again, Melchionda finds her way out of trouble without a run crossing the plate. 2.5 innings in the books, and still no runs on the board. We'll be right back.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
The 8, 9, and 1 spots for the Beacons. Tam Landry, Caitlin Sawyer, Sophie Richland to get things going in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And for Landry, not always in the lineup, just 21 at-bats this season in the 12 now games she has played. But she did hit her first collegiate home run in her senior season in the first of the 2 games against Keene State. That was a loss for the Beacons in 11 innings. Walk-off always stings. Landry grounds that one to third. And unable to make the play is the third baseman, Migliorini. So Landry will reach base safely to lead off the inning. It's going to go as an error on the third baseman. And now Caitlin Sawyer will hit with a runner on base. She did that in the last game. And reached both times. One of them was a 3-run double that took the game from solid Beacon's lead to very comfortable Beacon's lead. A heck of a hitter to have bringing up the rear, given that she's hitting .324. She's reaching base 42% of the time. It squares to bunt, pulls back, and takes the strike anyway. Still no score in the bottom of the third. I'm Milton Posner. You're tuning into the Beacons Broadcast Network. A production of UMass Boston Softball, team that's taken 15 of their 19 games so far this season, including 2 of the 3 games in conference, and are looking for their first conference sweep of the season. Sawyer chops that one over to second base. Easy dump play to first. But the runner moves over, and with 1 out, Sophie Richland comes to the plate. Richland retired on a comebacker her first time up on a you be the judge sort of play where it looked like she had beaten it out. Corners pinched in. And they're running up every time. You can call pretty much every hit she does some kind of swinging bunt. That's the ultimate result anyway. Pitch comes home. She does bunt this time and squibs it foul. Unclear how much advantage you get out of doing that when the infield is already charging, assuming you're going to bunt. Wonder if you get more mileage out of staying back on it and slapping a ground ball past an infielder charging in on you. Likely going to be swinging away here, when indeed she is as it comes in on the hands, but it's called for a strike. And now we'll have to contend with a 1-2 count. Off speed, hangs it high. 2-2. Both pitchers have done enough to hold the opposition. In Merrill's case, she's given up just the single to Melchionda on the infield hot shot and nothing more. Little comebacker, and once again, Richland retired on a ball back to the mound, although this one not so much in doubt. 2 gone in the frame now. Moving over to third on the play is Landry. And with the first run of the game, potential first run of the game, 60 feet away, it'll be up to Haley Tilbury, retired like Richland on a comebacker her last time up, with a walk and a single in the last game, and another comebacker. So both Richland and Tilbury, the 1 and 2 hitters, retired on comebacks both times, 4 in total. And an error winds up being harmless as Landry is stranded at third to end the inning. We'll be right back.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
3 scoreless innings in the books, and to the top of the 4th we go as Melchionda fires one tipped foul off the bat of Dory Koulis. The first baseman leading things off. She'll be followed by the third baseman, Kendall Migliorini, and the left fielder, McKenna Mulcahy. Koulis has the lone hit of the game for either team. Excuse me, the lone hit of the game for the Huskies. Slow roller up to third, Bethia up with it, throwing, and the out recorded at first. One gone in the frame now, and Migliorini strolls up. Melchionda is going to have to tangle now with a 7 and 8 hitters. And a fastball low for a ball. The Huskies coming off a pretty solid season. 24 and 16 overall, 13 and 3, good for second place in the LEC. Their only conference losses were to UMass, one to UMass Dartmouth, one to EastCon, and EastCon was ranked 8th at the time in the country, and to UMass Boston. Won a game in the LEC tournament, but fizzled from there. This is a year after they got the at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, partly on the back of Eastern's strength. Sarah Jamo was making this point before this weekend's games. You have a team like Eastern in your conference, you split a season series with them, it gives you some at-large credibility. But Eastern not quite as stacked, not quite as highly regarded as they have been in prior years. Still a strong team to be sure. And they're 10 and 8 so far this season. But not quite the behemoth that we've been used to. Off-speed pitch, off the black. 2-2 the count now to Kendall Migliorini. They got to that at-large bid. They got to the tournament and then lost to Linfield by 8, lost to Wisconsin Oshkosh by 7 in that tournament. As Migliorini will take the free pass. That is the 4th, make it the 5th walk issued by Melchionda. Once again, having some command issues. Now the batter will be McKenna Mulcahy, starting in left field after appearing as a pinch hitter earlier in the day. For Southern Maine, this year they lost only what Sarah Jamo described as 1.5 starters from last year. And they've got a leadership group that witnessed the 21 year. They witnessed that accomplishment. And so she says they understand the potential of the team. They understand the program potential. Bunt attempt missed. They throw down to first. To no avail. But that core has aged together, she says. So they have the pitching and the defense as emphases this season. Pitchers will come right at you. They're not going to walk you a whole lot. We've seen that so far today. But the consistency of the bats is really the open question. Off the plate again. And now the count 1-2. Melchionda's already had a pitch count up into the mid-60s. That one slapped to short and through into center field. Ground ball base hit right up the seam off the bat of Mulcahy. Second hit of the afternoon, or rather of this game, I should say, for the Huskies. And they are in business with one out. It's turning into a pitcher's duel despite the fact that Melchionda's walked 5 She's gotten herself out of trouble every time. So with that has come a close, scoreless game. Any given run here could be the decider, the way these pitchers are going. In particular, the Beacons have only managed a couple of base runners through their first 3 innings. There's a ground ball, shovel to second, on to first. Not in time there. And so 6-4 on the fielder's choice gets the first, or rather the second out of the inning. So Mulcahy's wiped off the bases. It's Migliorini at second, or at third rather. Dufresne taking Mulcahy's spot at first. And back to the top of the order with Lauren Miller. She slaps that one into left, but it'll hang up just enough for Sophie Richland. And a line out ends the frame. So once again, multiple base runners in the frame. 7 left on base through the first 4 innings for the Huskies. But Brie Melchiondo once again keeps them off the board. To the bottom of the 4th, we go still scoreless.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
The heart of the Beacons order to get things started. Sydney Sandin, Brie Melchiondo, Lauren Miner. And they're going to have to do it against a pitcher in Lauren Merrill, who's only allowed 2 base runners, only one of them on a base hit. The other was an error on the third baseman, Kendall Migliorini. As Sandin chips that one foul at the plate. Sandin struck out her last time, which is a sentence broadcasters haven't had to say too much this season. Just her 4th strikeout of the year. Beautiful breaker right there, but it dips low and Sandin lays off. 1-2 the count. Line drive, dropping in the left field. That's going to be fair and down. Sandin takes a big turnaround first, but holds on with a single. And a much-needed leadoff hit for the Beacons offense. Now she can set the table for Melchionda and Miner behind her. She's also been a threat to steal. 6 stolen bases in 7 tries this season for Sandin. 6 steals also for Richland at the top of the lineup. Tilbury in the number 2 spot, so they have some speed to work with. In the first game, you don't really need to play small ball with your hitters clicking, but in this game, do you roll the dice with Merrill pitching as well as she has? Off speed away, 1-1. Melchionda as the only other hit for the Beacons in this one, and was a big part of those strings of base hits and walks that put the Beacons on top in the first game. Swings and misses at a bad low outside pitch, or bad to hit, I suppose. And now they count 1-2. rocks and throws outside again. 2-2. And this is a dangerous spot. Just one hitter on, but you're heading into the teeth of the lineup here. This is the part of the lineup that Natalia Ardagna says could really be keying the offense all year. And a beautiful punch out as that one dives to the inside edge. Melchionda goes down looking. That's the 4th strikeout of the day for Lauren Merrill, who has really just been terrific. Take a Beacons lineup that's averaging about 6.5 runs per game and just hung 10 runs on you in only 4 innings of action, and limited them to no runs through 3 1/3 rather. Swing and a miss, and she pulls the string on the first offering to Lauren Miner. Fired in, punch out again. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And with a little bit of swagger, she steps off the mound. Her 2nd consecutive strikeout looking, and her 5th overall. And now it's Amari English with 2 outs. Again with the off speed to start. And the Beacons are really having trouble squaring these pitches up. Talked about pitching being the strength of this Huskies team. This is a lot more in line with what other teams have seen. English fouls that one off her back foot and is going to walk it off for a moment. Grimacing a little bit. Oh, and 2. That one's off the plate. Just missed a back-to-back 3-pitch strikeout. English reached on a fielder's choice her last time up. Drove in 3 runs in the first game of the doubleheader. Oh, and Merrill started off the mound. She thought that one found the edge, but home plate umpire disagrees. 2-2. Just narrowly missing the strikeout of Amari English. English lays off as Sandin dives into second base. And steals it without a throw. So Sydney Standen swipes her 7th bag of the year. And now English with a 3-2 count. Smacks that one into right. It's falling, and a beautiful running catch over toward the line. Not sure if it would have been fair. It may have been just foul, but Lauren Miller makes a nice running catch. English is retired. The runner is stranded, and 4 full innings in the books. Still goose eggs draped across the scoreboard for both sides. We'll be right back.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Two, three, four spots in the order. The center fielder, Hannah Shields, the shortstop, Madison Day, and the designated player, Rona Scott, against Bree Melchionda, who has allowed multiple base runners in every inning and has stranded them all. 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. Beacons have stranded just 3. But in the same spot, 1-1 pitch, fought off the hands into the leg, and the count 1-2. Appreciate you taking the time out of your Saturday to join us. You're watching the Beacons Broadcast Network. I'm Milton Posner. It was a much closer game than the first one. That one ended 10-2 in the Beacons' favor, as Melchionda's off-speed unable to coax a swing out of Shields. And the count now 2-2. Shields reached on a walk her first time, was called on for a sacrifice bunt her second time. Melchionda comes set, comes home. Strike 3 called. First strikeout of the game for Bree Melchionda comes in the top of the 5th. Going back to the Beacons' half of the 4th, that's the 3rd batter out of the last 4 to be retired by looking strikeout. So Madison Day now. Reached on a fielder's choice her first time up, flew out to left her second time. Had the only 2 base hits for the Huskies in the first game of the doubleheader. The junior out of Otisfield, Maine, who hadn't been having the best hitting season coming into the day with just a 192 average. But she had been walking a lot. 8 walks to lead the team, and that'll always help to salvage things for you when the ball's not exactly leaping off your bat. She's hit pretty well today as Melchionda skips that one in like a throwing stone, 2-2. We saw her grab the strikeout a moment ago, but the control issues have been very real today. 5 free passes handed out, whereas Merrill opposite her hasn't walked anybody. Line drive, left center field. That thing is going to drop for a clean base hit. Madison Day's 3rd of the day, and with 1 out and 1 on, the batter is the big one, Rona Scott. Top slugger on this Southern Maine team. He's had a terrific last couple of seasons. Scott has. All-conference first team in 2021 after hitting 300 on the season. All-conference second team last season after hitting 261, but fielding at a .993 percentage. Hard-fought territory. And boy, do they need the big bat now. Slapped on the ground. Foul over by the first base coach's box. Melchionda trying to keep the heart of the Husky order at bay. 5'7" junior out of Marshfield comes set, comes home. Off speed high. The throw down to second base. And sliding in safely with a steal is Madison Day. Her first stolen base of the year and only the 5th of the year in 8 tries for the Southern Maine. They do not run often, but they surprise the Beacons here and get a runner into scoring position with 1 out. Melchionda outside. 1-1 now. Melchionda taking her time, getting the signal straight. There's a fly ball. That's whacked into left. Coming in to make the catch is Richland, and that's the second out. Sounded good off the bat, but ultimately to no avail. And it'll be Lauren Merrill trying to help out her own cause here. Was retired on a ground ball to first her first time up. Popped out to third her second time. 0 for 2. Check swing, punched foul. Merrill came into the day hitting .348, almost exclusively a singles hitter. But has pitched what has so far been the best outing of her season in a lot of ways. One of at the very least. And now takes ball 1 from Melchionda. 2 outs now. The go-ahead run in scoring position in the form of Madison Day. Melchionda fires home. That one's lifted into shallow right center. It's going to fall in front of English. The throw comes home. It is not in time, and the Huskies strike first. Got all the way to the 5th inning with no runs on the board. But finally, Lauren Merrill drives in a run to help her own cause and scores Madison Day for the second time today. First pitch is over for a ball to the number 6 hitter, Dory Coulis. Singled her first time up, grounded to third her second time. Melchionda comes home but can't find the low inside corner. Huskies looking for some insurance. As well as Merrill's pitch, the Beacons have a potent lineup, and there's no guarantee a 1-run lead is going to last. Line drive speared by Toomey at first, and that'll end the inning. But the Huskies break through on a single from Madison Day, a stolen base, a rarity for this team, and then an RBI single off the bat of Lauren Merrill. We'll be right back.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. It's one of those moments you never forget.
Psychology is about understanding the individual and understanding the mind. The main reason why I want to combine psychology and business degrees is because I want to understand the business decisions that are made. I'm Nurçin Çelebi. I'm from Turkey originally. I'm a senior at the 5-year BA to MBA program at UMass Boston.
Lauren Bethea, Tam Landry, Caitlin Sawyer in the bottom of the 9th inning. And a nice running catch in foul ground retires the first of those three. Lauren Miller done a rather terrific job in right field. In both of these doubleheader games, viewers of the first one will remember a dazzling catch she made in foul territory down the line. It's Tam Landry now. Last game out had her first collegiate home run. Not typically a player who hits with a ton of power. She's got just the 2 extra base hits this season in 22 trips to the plate. Reached on an error her last time up, made it to third on a couple of ground balls, but was ultimately stranded there. 1-1 now. Merrill just 65 pitches. Melchionda, through 2 more outs, has a pitch count 25 higher. She's thrown 88 through 5 innings. And now Merrill's got Tam Landry 1-2. Fly ball. Fading down the right field line, and the second baseman, Megan Dufresne, almost made the catch. And Merrill back to the pitcher's plate, staring down Landry, still 1-2. She has struck out 5, make it 6. That one fades away into the horizon to coax a swing and a miss out of Landry. And with 2 outs now, Caitlin Sawyer steps up. 6 strikeouts. English twice. Sandin and Melchionda once apiece. Bethea and now Landry. And Sawyer way out in front of this one. She's got the beacons guessing, Merrill does. And that changeup has been very effective throughout the first 5 innings. Pitch fades away a little bit too much, and the count 1-1. For Merrill, 2.23 earned run average in 44 innings her first season. That was back in 2021. Sawyer chops that one to third in an easy play across the diamond. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. And Lauren Merrill pitching like a star through 5. Bree Melchionda back to the circle to face the bottom three in the Huskies lineup. First, it's going to be a pinch hitter in Olivia Lavasser, followed by McKenna Mulcahy and Megan Dufresne. Melchionda winds, fires. There's a bunt attempt. It's popped up, and Landry snags it. So an easy first put out for the Beacons. And for the second, now third straight inning, Melchionda retires the leadoff hitter. Now it's Mulcahy. Has reached both times on a walk and on a single, but has never made it to second base. Oh, and that one comes in off the hands, and she's going to get first base. So for the third straight time, and in the third different way, McKenna Mulcahy standing on first. You want to count that with the walks. That's the sixth free pass Melchionda's given to a Husky, and the second to Mulcahy. She's working from behind now with a 1-0 deficit and a lineup that cannot seem to find its bats against Lauren Merrill. He's just trying to keep it at that one-run deficit. Megan Dufresne now, the second baseman and the number 9 hitter in the lineup, takes strike one on the outside edge. Oh, 1 pitch. Line drive caught. Toomey at first. She's played solid defense all day. And the soft liner snagged over there for the second out. Lauren Miller now at the top of the order. 1 for 3 with a base hit back in the third. Starting in right field, she's played some terrific defense in both games. Chokes up, looked like she was going to run up to bunt and pulled back. Umpire calls time here as we're going to have a meeting on the mound. The Beacons with their pitcher, Melchionda. Natalia Ardagna, the head coach, out there as well. Beacons trying for their 16th win, their third in conference. Southern Maine looking to salvage a split out of the doubleheader. They're 6-11 on the season, 2-1 in the Little East, which means the Little East Conference is starting to run low on undefeated teams. It's just Eastern Connecticut State at this point. UMass Dartmouth won both of their games today, 2-1 and 3-2 over Rhode Island College. That'll move them to 3-1 in conference, 16-7 on the season. Rhode Island College drops to 1-3, 7-11 overall. Castleton triumphed over Keene State 2-1 earlier. That's going to put Castleton up to 2-1 in conference, 5-8 overall. Keene State, who split the pair with UMass Boston, is going to drop to 1-2 in conference, 5-14 on the season. Those two teams' second game began just a short while ago. Melchionda comes home with a 1-0, and off the bat handle, it looked like, of Lauren Miller. So 1-1 the count. That one's low, a nice stop there behind the plate by Landry. It's tough going for the Beacons offensively in this second game in a way that it wasn't in the first. And they had Lexus McIntosh's number from the get. So the count's 2-1. They did not have Belle Snyder's number quite from the get, but about an inning and a half in, they settled in and found it. 3-1. No, 2-2, excuse me, a late strike call. Melchionda fires again, this one off the plate. 3-2. And with the bases empty, Miller trying to, excuse me, with a runner on first and 2 out. Trying to keep something going, fights it off to short. Minor with a strong throw, but safe. He was playing a little bit back. It was not struck well, and had enough time, Miller, to beat out Minor's throw. So Mulcahy advances to second on the infield single from Lauren Miller. And now Hannah Shields with 2 on and 2 out. Chopper to third, or to short rather. Minor this time she has enough time, and the side is retired. So for the 6th consecutive inning, Melchionda strands at least 1 base runner. She's stranded 10 overall and given up just the 1 run. 5.5 innings in the books. Beacon still down 1.
What do we mean when we say UMass is here for a reason? We mean that the 5-campus UMass system is the only public research university that the people of Massachusetts established to create better futures for themselves, but also for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as a whole. It's a university that educates 73,000 students every day and graduates 17,000 graduates every year. We are the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We're one of the state's 3 major academic research engines: research that saves and improves people's lives, and research that drives the innovation economy of Massachusetts. We provide services and economic opportunity to every region of the Commonwealth. The noted historian David McCullough once said that 2 great concepts, university and Massachusetts, come together in only one place, and we are very aware of how fortunate we are to bear the name, the University of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
It's the top of the order for UMass Boston. And before we can even get too far out of the break, it's a ground ball out off the bat of Richland, her 3rd of the game, right into the glove webbing of Megan Dufresne at second. 1 out in the 6th. Haley Tilbury up with Sydney Sandin on deck. Tilbury has grounded back to the pitcher both times. Off speed again for a strike. We have seen Lauren Merrill again and again unafraid to go to the off speed or the breaking stuff on the first pitch and throughout an at bat. She has bamboozled the Beacons through 5 1/3. And another swing and a miss for Tilbury. The Beacons, by and large, aren't striking out a ton. They're about middle of the pack in the Little East in terms of strikeouts. But you wouldn't know it from watching so far in this game. That one fades away, a little too away, and the count 1-2. Tilbury hitting .327 on the season, on-base percentage up above .425. And for the 3rd time in 3 at-bats, she's retired on a comebacker to the pitch. It has to be on purpose. It's too coincidental. Or maybe Lauren Merrill's just pitching that well. She's through 5 2/3. She has allowed just the 1 hit to the Beacons. That one sprayed foul off the bat of Sandin. Correction, it is going to be just the 1 hit. Melchionda's single in the 2nd inning was overturned into an error, scorer's decision. And Sandin hit by the pitch. She'll roll on down to second. So if E3 for Melchionda earlier means just the one hit, it was that Sandin hit. And now with a hit by pitch, she's the only Beacon to reach twice. But a much-needed base runner any way the Beacons can get it. With 2 outs now, they're badly in need of something from Brie Melchionda, preferably extra bases, but a big wave and a miss at a pitch low and away. When they've swung at the first pitch breaking ball, it's been a ball. When they've taken it, it's been a strike. There's not too much better an endorsement of how a pitcher's mixing pitches than that. Melchionda slaps that one foul down the left field line. And the count now 0-2. Reached on an error her first time up. Struck out looking her second time. 0-2 pitch, outside. Didn't look like she had the release point she wanted on that one. And shaking her head as she retakes the circle. Merrill, 2.23 ERA in 44 innings pitched 2 seasons ago. Tripled the innings count the next season. The ERA stayed in the same spot. But Melchionda retired again. 6 sparkling shutout innings for Lauren Merrill. And that's where we stand. 1-0 Huskies after 6.
I came from a working class family. I grew up in a hard-edged section of Lowell, Massachusetts. And I lived with my 6 siblings and my parents in a 4-bedroom house that had 1 bathroom. I knew that the only way that I was going to get to where I wanted to get to was if I got a high-quality college education, and I had the University of Massachusetts right in my hometown. It made a difference. I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I think with that comes a special responsibility as a steward, as a protector. Every student that I see that walks through the door, I mean, I see myself. I was exactly where they are now. I had their same challenges, their same aspirations, their same dreams. And it makes me want to fight for them. It makes me want to make sure that they get every opportunity that I got. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
A 100 pitches in, and Brie Melchionda back to the hill for what may prove to be her last inning of work. We'll see how the bottom half goes. But she'll face off against Hannah Shields, Madison Day, Rona Scott, the toughest part of this order. And should anyone reach Lauren Merrill, who has incontrovertibly established herself as the MVP of this game so far. 6 innings, just the 1 hit allowed, no walks, 6 strikeouts. That one is socked in the left field, but it'll hang up for a well-positioned Sophie Richland, and that's the first out. Melchionda has by and large pitched pretty well. She's allowed 5 base hits and 5 walks, not to mention a hit by pitch, but she's scattered them well enough. She has pitched well when she's had to, even if it's not the outing she'd necessarily be proud of. Rona Scott flies that one down the left field line, just out of reach of the third baseman, Lauren Bethia. 0-1. Or 0-1, excuse me, and that's 0-2. So Melchionda, now 104 pitches in. Merrill's thrown only 83. But they've both thrown Exactly the same number of strikes. 0-2. Swing and a miss, and down goes Scott. Second strikeout of the game for Melchionda, and she sits down the big bopper. And now coming up to pinch hit. Or correction, not a pinch hitter, just a regular hitter. It's Lauren Merrill. So Day flies to left. Scott strikes out swinging. And now it's Lauren Merrill. Last chance to help herself out. Melchionda looking a little bit frustrated with the location on some of the pitches. 1-1. Off speed sails high. She does it often enough. It's a deliberate thing trying to get batters to chase that high change. But every now and then it'll just get too high and it won't seem appetizing to the batter. 2-1 the count now. Melchionda to Merrill, and that one's high as well. 3-1. Melchionda's been up and down with the control this season. It's something she's likely going to want to sort out. She has had some very good starts, notably a couple of them. That one's in for strike 2. On March the 23rd against Bridgewater and against Emerson earlier this week. 7 innings pitched in each one, just the 1 earned run, and 14 strikeouts in both. That's the kind of potential she's got. And she's got her 3rd strikeout in this one, of the looking variety this time, and back-to-back Ks send the Beacons to bat. The first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon for Bree Melchionda, and the Beacons will have their 5 through 7 hitters their last chance to even up this game in the bottom of the 7th.
Psychology is about understanding the individual and understanding the mind and understanding how it affects others. The main reason why I want to combine psychology and business degrees is because I want to understand the business decisions that are made. I'm Nurçin Çelebi. I'm from Turkey originally. I'm a senior at the 5-year BA to MBA program at UMass Boston. Right now I'm doing an internship, so I will be starting to get experience in the field, and on top of that, getting an MBA and adding that business edge to my psychology degree. I think in management, the biggest mistake you can make is to not listen. So I want to be able to step into a company and say, here's what you're doing now, and here's how you can improve it in order to get the best out of your people, in order to actually have people coming in here with passion. I moved here when I was 16 for high school. Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because you don't really speak the language that well.
We've arrived at the bottom of the 7th. Running up to bunt and popping it back for strike 1 is Lauren Miner. She'll be followed by Amari English and Lauren Bethia, with Tam Landry waiting in the wings should any of them reach. Reaching's going to be a difficult thing to do. Beacons have only mustered 3 base runners against Lauren Merrill. And if you're getting distracted, by the way, by just the sheer volume of Laurens in this game, I can't say I blame you. There are many. But they've only put 3 base runners on against her, 2 of them by infield error. Correction, 4 batters, 2 of them by infield error, 1 on a hit by pitch, and then the 1 single from Sydney Sandin back in the 4th. But otherwise, it's been a gem. Miner digs that one out and stays alive, 1-2 still. Ball swap over here. Merrill, all-conference second-team member in the Little East last year, and the way she's going this season, I think a first-team nod would be in order. She can keep this up. Off speed, sails off the plate. Two-two count now to Minor. Punch out on the corner. And a windmill motion from Lauren Merrill. Getting some much-deserved fist bumps from the infielders. That's her 7th strikeout. And another of the looking variety. That's how the last 3 of the last 4 of them have come for her. And now Amari English grounds sharply to third, up and throwing and recording the out is Migliorini. And the Beacons are down to their final out. It's Lauren Bethia to extend the game, with Tam Landry behind her should she do so. So if Melchionda's day is done, if the Beacons can't force extras, 7 innings, 111 pitches to get through them, 5 hits, 5 walks, and a hit by pitch, but strands 10 of those 11 base runners. First pitch, low outside corner for a strike, and that pitch has quite simply been working all day for Lauren Merrill. Grounded to short. Up and throwing, and that will do it. A sparkling performance for Lauren Merrill, a 1-hit shutout on just 94 pitches. And after the Beacons took the front end of the doubleheader 10-2, Southern Maine responds with a 1-0 pitcher's duel. Melchionda, the hard luck loser, in a game where Lauren Merrill quite simply did whatever she wanted with the Beacons lineup. 1 hit, and that's it. I want to say a quick thank you to our production crew before we sign off. So for our camera operators, Annalise Ortiz, McKenna Hallen, and Margot Butters. Oh, this is from a past game. No worries, y'all. For our camera operators, for our graphics op, Gina Albano. For Grace in the director's chair, I'm Milton.